What up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 9 in my 7th annual 31 Days of Horror. This is a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And of course, this year we have a challenge going on. The film I'm reviewing today is actually not covering any of the criteria, but I wanted to get to this film because the sequel to this film is actually part of the bonus films that we must watch. This is a film that I haven't watched in a while, and it is Tales from the Hood from the year 1995. Now, first, let me just say I absolutely love Tales from the Hood. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but it's one that I've continued to revisit over the years because of how big of a fan I am of the movie. It's in my top favorite horror films of all time. First rented it as a kid, fell in love with it. I remember the slave doll segment always scared the hell out of me. I remember not being able to handle it the first time I watched it with my aunt, and I put on Three Stooges instead, which I had some VHS of Three Stooges. And it was a film that I continually rented in the 90s. I actually, oddly enough, have the original VHS that I used to rent at the video store. They when they went out of business, they were selling all their titles, and this is one that I made sure to pick up. It actually has the catalog number on there, which is 3056, which is pretty cool, you know. And this is a cool VHS too. So yeah, I've been rocking that VHS for a long time. Was hoping that this film would get released. It eventually did by Scream Factory, and this was sealed, baby. So I cut it open and watched Tales from the Hood, and I loved it. Again, I think I like it even more than I ever have. So Tales from the Hood follows a group of criminals, thugs, who decide to go to this mortuary where there is a mortician who apparently found a bunch of drugs in an alley. They come there for the shit, quote unquote, which they say a few times through the movie. And basically this mortician tells them stories while he's on their way to take them to the shit. And each story is separate from, you know, the main film. It's a anthology film, but each of the stories have, you know, social and cultural relevance to human beings and our society. And they're actually this movie's very underlooked, because Tales from the Hood is such an amazing film with its social commentary. And, you know, I thought that with Get Out recently, especially when you talk about the black culture, with Get Out coming out and being so relevant, a lot of people went back and talked about Tales from the Hood, because this did it way before Get Out. So yeah, the wraparound story, let me just say this, it's really good. I love the wraparound story to this. Everybody feels authentic. The mortician, played by, I want to say Clarence something the third, or something along those lines. He is awesome as Mr. Sims. Yeah, Clarence Williams the third as Mr. Sims is really good in this film. He just has this you know, non-human like characteristics about him, this just slightly off, something about him, you know, and I really like that. And the way it ends, although we've kind of seen it before, it works. It really does in this film. And I remember going into this that I always thought the ending with like some of the CGI was a lot worse than it actually is. So watching it, it was a little bit more refreshing to see that, like, okay, this movie, the CGI was not even that bad, and it's definitely passable because of the setting and just the imagination of it and stuff like that. But anyway, the first segment is I actually forget the names of them, but it's like about a cop who is he's a rookie cop. He's on duty with a couple of other scumbag crooked cops who run into a activist who is trying to clean up the streets. Very Martin Luther King-ish, if you will, just in a different subject. And the way they shoot that, and with the flashbacks of him you know, standing up there and giving speeches and stuff, is really chilling. And they basically beat him. This is very reminiscent of Rodney King, and they get away with it, and it basically makes the guy, the rookie cop, who's also black, very guilty because he did not stand up. He did not stick up for the right thing, and you know, uh, basically these guys got away with it. 1 year later, basically the politician was basically resurrected, and goes on a spree, if you will. Great segment, great segment. It was actually my least favorite growing up, but I've come around on it a lot. The second segment is like boys do get bruises or something like that, and this one is about a boy who is coming to school with bruises. It's about a teacher who is wanting to step in and figure out what's going on with this kid. The kid ends up having some sort of power. It's actually told really well, and the only critique that I have about this segment is they really sexualize the kid's mom. Now you could say that it's almost a cry for help from what's going on with her, but they make her very like not directly flirty, but like very seductive in the way that it's shot, and it's definitely intentional. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think it takes away the sting a little bit of this kid and his situation, and it makes her a little less innocent, which I think that's the littlest critique on that one. The third segment is a really good segment. This was always my favorite segment growing up, but I've changed my favorite segment. This is now my second favorite segment. I think it's called like KKK Comeuppance, and it's basically about a politician. Very, very eerie in the fact that it mocks a lot. It feels like a Trump-like character, in terms of like just the way you hear people talk about Trump today. It's very, very interesting, and he moves into a what once was a plantation house, like a slave house, and he's very disrespectful, clearly a racist, and he basically stumbles upon a voodoo doll, from the like a slave doll that was supposedly has the souls of dead slaves in it, and this doll comes to life. Man, this is a scary segment. Really good, really well done. The acting was really good. Performances, the writing was very good, and has very creepy vibes all over it. And the fourth segment is I forget the name of it, but it basically follows a gangster named Crazy K, who is clearly just like as hood as they get, and he basically kills this guy, but then he's shot up by the guy's friends, and he's put into prison because he survives the shots, saved by the police, and he goes through this program to sort of rehabilitate him. It's a sensory deprivation thing. Really cool, and I love this segment. They use this song from Spice One called Born to Die in this segment, and they use it at the beginning and then a little bit later in the film, with all these images of gang violence and like Klansmen and slaves, and it's just very, very shocking and just hits you, but just punches you, and it has a lot of good messages in this one as well. Very, very, very good segment. This one is my favorite segment, and I love all four of these segments, honestly. It's one of the only anthologies where I love all of the segments. And the twist ending at the end, like I said, I love it. I think it's really good. The music in this film is absolutely amazing. They have some great rap music, as well as just the like the mortuary theme, and there's some like good like I don't know what you would call it, like choir stuff or something like that, like chanting things that go on throughout the film. It just amazing. Like, I love Tales from the Hood. If you've never watched it because you thought it would be a goofy movie, definitely reconsider and check it out, because it is truly mind-blowing how ahead of its time it was, how relevant it was. I mean, I could do a long-form review of this film and touch on all the key notes and stuff, because there's just really a lot to talk about with this film, and it's amazing. And 9.5 out of 10. The only half point that I take off is for that weird seductive scene in the second segment, and then also like the little bit of CGI at the end that doesn't quite hold up. But that's it, man. I mean, this is a great anthology. I absolutely love this release too. Directed by Rusty Cundiff, who we'll hear about later in the 31 Days of Horror. But yeah, that's today's review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely check out Tales from the Hood. It's a favorite of mine. Absolutely love it. Peace out.